Welcome to ADHD Rocks. This podcast is gonna rock. We got so much to say and so little time, so hold on tight. It could get weird. We're gonna have a blast. This show is going fast, so stick around, stick around, stick around, stick around, stick around, stick around, stick around. Let's start the show. Let's start the show.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I decided I wanted to hold on, let me turn this up a little bit. There we go. And I'm gonna move this a little closer. I wanted to start a new podcast. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and use the original feed that I had for my last show, which was the ADHP Attention Deficit Hyperactive Politics. I did that show with two other guys, and that show just kind of fell apart as far as I was concerned. It was not. It stopped being fun for me, largely because um, I'm very ADHD, very neurodivergent, and for me to uh, set aside a portion of my day to record a podcast and also coordinate with other people, and then have them at the last second, like 30 minutes before, decide that they didn't want to do it today, or they couldn't do it for whatever reason because of a job or family or whatever the case may be. They couldn't do it, and um, it wasn't just a one-time thing, and it wasn't just a uh, it wasn't just a one-time thing, and it wasn't like a thing that happened, but it also was not a thing that happened a lot. It's 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 weird, man. It shows that I'm not online. What the hell? Um. All right, I'm just recording offline. That's why it's not showing I'm online, because I'm not doing a stream. I'm doing a I'm doing a recording instead of a stream. I'm sitting there looking at my screen, going, why isn't it playing? It's because I hit record instead of hit stream, start stream. So yeah, it was just one of those things where um, I would, as an ADHDer, when someone says, "Hey, we're gonna meet at like 4 o'clock to do this thing," and like 3:30 comes around and someone says, "Oh, dude, I can't. XYZ happened, and I can't." I'm like, okay, that's fine. Let's figure out a time where we can get together, because I spent a lot of time getting everything set up, getting all the pre-rolls and all the sound drops and all the other shit that I used to do. I'm not doing hardly any of that here. I do have some like graphics and things on the screen when I'm recording this, and I have a couple different scenes that I can switch back and forth between. So I have some things set up, but it's not like I used to do, which was um I would set everything up and get everything ready to go, and then once we were doing our show, I would what the hell? See, this is exactly why I tend to like do everything before I do a show. And I get things set up on my screen. I have I have my secondary monitor like right here. That's why I'm looking down. And I have things set up so I can pull things up on screen. And let's see here. Got notifications on my phone. I should turn, and that is turned down. Okay, cool. And make sure my phone is not making any other noises. Let's mute the phone, turn off, or turn on the do not disturb so I don't get any more notifications while I'm doing this. So, what I used to do as a podcaster before I was podcasting with other people, which I enjoyed having conversations with people, and I may invite people on if I start doing a live show. Um, and I just have to figure out what what channel I want to use to do the live shows because I have it set up where I can live stream from um, both my Twitch channels and Facebook and on YouTube. I don't know if I'm gonna do all of them just because. Well, let's see. I'll figure it out. I have to figure it out. So typically, when I was doing a podcast by myself after my original show, the 206 Geek, um, kind of fell apart because my co-host decided um, to stop doing the show and stop being my friend. And RSD fucking kicked my ass for a long time over that. And I still have some thoughts and feelings about it, but I'm not gonna like harp on it. I'm only mentioning it because I've been podcasting since 2013 from one show or another, and it's something I've done pretty much every week for the past, what is it, 13 years, 14 years, something like that. And this last March was the last episode that I recorded with Doug, and a couple episodes before that was the last one I did with Doug and Brandon on my previous show. Which, like I said, I'm going to probably use the same podcast feed because that way I don't have to resubmit to Apple and Spotify and all the others. I just will start the feed over here on this one. And this podcast will just be the ADHD Rocks podcast, which is just it's my online handle. If you go to that website, www.adhd.rocks, that will take you to my link tree, and or you can go to linktree/adhd.rocks, um, which is linktr.ee/adhd.rocks. And the link is in all of my socials. So if you search for Todd ADHD Rocks, you'll find all of my socials on. I think I have accounts on Facebook and Threads and Instagram and TikTok. If you see my face or you see this logo on screen, that is it. Or it would also probably be my resting Tism face design that I have that I sell as a sticker or T-shirts or whatever. All of which are on the link tree. So yeah, I did that. Did that original podcast from like early 2013 to I think 2019. I think is when I stopped doing that show. And then I started a new show with my cousin Marianne and her friend Jamal. And I did that show with them for a couple years, and um, kind of like that show. I think that was also like before I got my official diagnosis with ADHD and combined type, and with depression and anxiety, which is essentially the rejection sensitive dysphoria that comes with ADHD, which is basically any perceived, whether it be real or not, um, rejection or negativity uh, is 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 taken very personal, and it hurts. It physically hurts, um, like an emotional hurt, not like a okay, maybe not a physical hurt, but it definitely you definitely it's when you're in pain, emotionally, you also feel it physically too. I think, at least I do. Um, so that's where that is, um, and then I did another show with a couple local guys here in Renton, Washington, for a couple years, and that show was basically three Gen Xers, and we talked about everything. I brought in like the nerd stuff and the geek stuff and the pop culture, um, and they kind of were into it too, but they weren't into it as much as I was. I was like I'm a nerd, I'm a geek. I wear that shit on my sleeve. I even have like six different Star Wars t-shirts. And I would wear those frequently. And I actually for the most part enjoyed doing that podcast. That podcast fell apart because one of the other two guys was very much a control freak and wouldn't allow anybody else to do any of the promotional stuff or editing, um, like creating designs. Anytime I tried to create something for that podcast, it would be like my my graphic designer wife doesn't think that's very good, so we're not going to use that because my wife said so. And I'm not shaming the guy for listening to his wife. I think that is a thing that most men should do. But what I am saying is that he used her as a scapegoat for something he didn't approve. So he would say it was his wife that said that she didn't like it, and he probably did show it to her. Hey, what do you think of this? And she's like, okay. And he takes that as oh, she doesn't like it, so therefore I'm not gonna like it. Or he doesn't like it and he wants her to not like it so he can say it's her. I think it's how it really worked. And he was very much a nice to your face but talk shit behind your back kind of guy. And the other guy was a non-confrontational kind of guy who doesn't want to have arguments, doesn't want to uh, have like real disagreements with anyone. And then that show decided um, it was going to move locations because of reasons that were not known to me um, at the time. I learned why we moved the locations where we would record to this new spot. Uh, what I didn't know was that the first of the two guys I talked about was conspiring, I think. And this could all be fabricated in my head for all I know. But I felt like he and this new person who allowed us to record in his space were planning on like replacing me with him, this new guy. And this new guy was like, "Hey, I'm like you, Todd. I'm ADHD, and I'm quirky, and I'm a nice guy, and blah 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 blah." He wasn't. He I believe that he was trying to cozy up to me because I'm pretty open about my neurodivergence, and I talk about it quite a bit. And he was trying to be all like, "I'm just like you, and I like nerdy stuff too." All right, cool. So I was trying to show him how to use the system we had for recording, so he could like kind of take over the the soundboard, and I can spend my time just in front of the camera like everybody else, because I was the one doing the recordings on the mixer. Uh, the first guy I mentioned, I'm not going to say their names because if you know, you know. The first guy I mentioned, he had a camera which was like 4K, and it was really a fancy camera. We would record on that through my mixer, which was a podcast mixer, which is a standalone recording unit. The Zoom PodTrack P8 is what it is, and I got this thing during the pandemic. It was one of those things when we had got the stimulus checks, I used that check to buy some recording equipment because I was utilizing an iPad and like a microphone that you could plug into an iPad. I wanted to have better sound. I wanted to be able to record a podcast and have it look and sound amazing. And so I got this Zoom recording equipment, and so we would connect the first guy's camera to the audio outputs on my mixer, so you would have amazing sound, and it would have the 4K video to kind of complement how good it sounded with the microphones that I had. The microphones I had, which were nice, the ones they had were cheap ones they found on Amazon, which why whenever they said anything, it sounded hollow as shit. And it was like everything I was trying to do was systematically being screwed with, or so they could like blame me, like he's not doing what we need him to do, so we're going to replace him, kind of thing. And keep in mind, this is my perception of it. This could very well be just my how I see it, and it may not be 100% accurate, not knowing everything that happened within their minds. I'm going by what I saw and how I felt during the situation. Um, so I had a full-on meltdown with the new guy who I was showing how to use the recording equipment, because he it felt like he was saying and doing things just to get under my skin. And I was getting frustrated because he kept like, let's do it this way. It's like, that didn't work. We just did that. We need to try it a different way. Well, how do you want to do it then? It's like, we're going to have to figure it out. But doing it that way, second and third time, isn't going to work if it didn't work the first time. So maybe he was a little ADHD. But the problem is he wasn't listening to anything I was telling him. And he was just doing the same thing over and over and over. I was getting frustrated because it wasn't working. He was frustrated because I was frustrated. He didn't care it wasn't working. He just wanted to keep hammering at it until it starts to work. It's like that's not how technology works. You can't just make it work just because you will it to. And he was like, you have to stay positive, man. You have to manifest this stuff. It's like manifesting doesn't work if you're doing the same thing over and over again. You have to try different things. And he just wasn't, he was too focused on being positive, man. It's like, if you are truly ADHD, you know that shit doesn't work. And so, and then, that I left that podcast because I had a full-on meltdown on a recording of the show. And I'm fairly certain that they didn't include that meltdown in the episode when it aired. But I was done. I removed myself from all the access to the social medias for that podcast. I was the one who posted the audio and video to Spotify, and then the other guy would post it straight to YouTube, because he like, well, podcast is on YouTube. I was like, when I started doing podcasting, you didn't post podcasts to YouTube. That was not a thing 15 years ago. So I was like, okay, well, you can post them on YouTube on your channel. I will post them to this Spotify podcast account, which will post it to all the places that do podcast feeds. It's it goes out to Apple and it goes out to, all the other podcast aggregators and stuff. And so when the kind of the meltdown happened and I basically was done with those two guys and the new guy that they had. I was like, you know what, fuck you guys, I'm done. I don't need this aggravation in my life. I don't need to have this new guy fucking with me and making me feel like I'm the problem when he's doing things out of spite and he's making fun of me and all these other things. And I stopped doing that show. And then another friend of mine who was a comedian friend of mine from a while back, said, "Hey man, I want to do a podcast where we talk politics and things and just kind of get things off my chest so I can voice my thoughts and feelings about what's going on in the world." I was like, "Cool, I'm down." And let's have some other topics in there too, because I don't enjoy talking politics. I will talk politics, but I don't enjoy talking politics. So I did that podcast for about a year. About 3 months into that podcast, we added. It was just me and Doug initially. Then we added a guest who was such a fun chat. Doug is like, "Hey, what do you think about having him as a permanent part of the podcast?" It's like, I'm down for that if he is, and everything is cool. And those first few recordings with Brandon were awesome. They were fun. They were entertaining. They were enjoyable. About 3 or 4 months after that, anytime we were doing a recording, Brandon needed to be high or drunk, and I started having uh, issues of him being so intoxicated he was not letting anyone else talk. And I'm like, I can talk a lot. I will talk and talk and talk and talk until someone either walks away or they tell me to shut up. um, which is how I was able to do a podcast by myself for a number of years, like I'm doing right now. I'm just basically talking to whoever's listening, like we're having a conversation. Um, and when it stopped being fun doing that show is when I was like, okay, I think I'm done podcasting. I will give it a few more times just to kind of like see if really I'm done, or if maybe I'm just overreacting to the situation that is Brandon being so intoxicated he won't let anyone else talk. He interrupts and he's talking over and like is being argumentative. Just that sucks. That's stupid. Why do you like that? That kind of thing. And I'm like, well, I do like it. I enjoy it. That's why I like it. You know, it's entertaining to me. You don't have to like it. That's fine. I enjoy it. That's what matters to me. And this last time I recorded with those two, Brandon and Doug, Brandon kept interrupting, and I'm like, you know what, dude? If you do this one more time, I'm gonna boot you from the call. And I said, we're done after that. You are done with the podcast. I won't let you back in. And he's like, fine, okay, whatever. Next time we podcast, he was not only was he getting drunk and high, he was like when you're taking a bong rip or taking a drag off your joint or whatever, and he would cough and cough and cough and cough and cough and cough, 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 cough. And like, hey, fine that you're getting high right now, but can you like mute yourself while you're hacking up a lung or something? And he got offended by that. Like, I don't want to hear. I don't want you coughing in my ears, and I'm pretty sure people listening also don't want to have someone hacking up a lung in their ear. And when he started arguing with me, I'm like, you know what? We're done. and I booted him from the call, and me and Doug finished the episode. Doug was awkward, and we finished the episode. Did another episode the following week, or I think a week after, a week and a half after, and it was kind of a short episode because there was just the two of us again, and he wanted someone to engage with the talk about politics and world events, and I just wasn't interested in conversating about that stuff, and I get to the nerd stuff or do the am I the asshole stories and whatever. So that was the last episode I did of that show, and then I decided, you know what, I'm not going to record a podcast anymore. I'm done. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to do other things with my creativity. I'm gonna start writing more jokes and going to open mics, and I'm gonna do more reels and TikToks and shorts, make videos that are funny, and I did that, and last month in June, late June, went to SummerCon and got to meet Kevin Smith, my podcast hero, and I like his movies too, but he was one of three people who really got me into podcasting. Let me turn this fan on. So if you hear that sound, that's my fan. It's getting really warm in here. So I told him that I'd been podcasting since 2013. He was kind of him and his co-host for his Hollywood Babble On podcast were like the inspiration for me to do my original show, which I did for like 6 years, 7 years. And then I continue to podcast because I enjoy having nerdy conversations with people, and I figured if I'm entertained by it, other people will be entertained by it. And so I told him like I'm taking a break. I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't know if I'm gonna ever podcast again. I don't know if I ever want to record again. And like the day after the convention, I'm sitting there looking at the recording software I have here on the computer, and I dug out my external monitor that I have sitting in my lap, and and I started thinking about how I wanted to do another show, if I wanted to do like a live stream where I get people to call in. I might actually do that. I don't know if I'm going to have a host or co-host again, unless it's someone who understands the the problem of deciding halfway through the day or right before you go to do your thing with someone who's neurodivergent. Like, um, if you know anybody who's neurodivergent, autistic, or ADHD, or even OCD, any number of neurodivergence, but specifically ADHD and autistic people, um, they will sit and wait all day to do the thing that they have scheduled to do. Like, for example, I had a eye doctor's appointment a couple weeks back, and it wasn't until like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But I woke up around 10:30 a.m. and sat there and stared at my wall until about 2:30. I mean, I was okay. Maybe I wasn't just staring at the wall, but I was like not doing anything that would require a lot of brain power because I needed to remember that I had this doctor's appointment. And if for any reason that appointment was to have been canceled or needed to be rescheduled, I would have been very annoyed because I've been waiting all day to do that, and I didn't do anything else until that was done. Once that was done, then I was able to do anything else I wanted or needed to do that day. But I needed to have that done before I did anything else. So I sat there and basically did nothing and waiting for time to leave to go to the doctor's appointment. So when podcasting with other people and they would decide at the last minute, like 30 minutes to an hour before, hey, I can't do it today because of X, Y, and Z. And I started seeing a pattern of that happening like every couple weeks. I was like, dude, if you can't do the podcast, don't wait to the last second to tell me. If you know when you wake up that you can't do it today because of the things you have that take priority, like work and or family or just whatever it is, doesn't matter. But if you know, like well in advance, that you're not going to be able to meet up at 4:30 or 5 o'clock or whatever the time was that was scheduled, then yeah, don't wait till like right before. Let me know as soon as you know. And their response was, I can't always do that. It's like, well, let me know when you know. Don't wait till the last second. Don't wait till like right before hey, I'm ready to go whenever you are. Don't do that. And I know plenty of neurodivergent people who do this, and that they will sit there and wait till it's time for that thing before they do anything else. Even though there's plenty of time beforehand, you don't want to forget. And if you start working on something else, you might forget. You don't want to forget. So, um, I know I've been been chatting for half an hour about like the progression of me in podcasting and why I'm here right now doing what it is I'm doing right now. The idea was I was going to pull up some stories that I found on my news feed, my RSS reader that has all these blogs and websites that I look at and I follow on social media. So I have stories to talk about. Um, Come on, there we go. Get my mouse to wake up so I can use it. And so a couple stories I have here. Thanks for enduring my babbling for the last half hour. I will try to remember to like set a way to skip ahead, or I will put at the beginning skip to this number on the timeline to skip my rant and my babbling. Um, so here we go. Make that bigger so you can see. Get this up here. There we go. This story I have here is on the Nerdist.com. It's a story about Absolute Batman is uh is uh is going to be the next animated DCU series. And if you're not familiar with ultimate Absolute Batman is what he's called. It's an Elseworlds where Bruce Wayne is not a billionaire. He is a blue collar kind of guy. And this article right here that you're looking at on the screen is DC reveals animated triple threat: Batman, Joker, and Crypto. So those are the next three animated shows. But talking specifically about Absolute Batman, we have Absolute Batman should launch the new DC animated universe. It says it was just announced that at the Annecy International Animation and Film Festival that Warner Brothers and DC Studios have announced an Absolute Batman animated series is in production. And I've read a few panels of the Absolute Batman comic book, and he is very similar to um, the Frank Miller Batman, who was just brutal and he didn't care, and yeah. So, uh, so it looks like the creators of the comic book are going to be part of the executive producing group of people. This is huge news for DC fans. Absolute Batman has been a massive hit for the publisher, according to many comic book shop retailers. Its successful has led to sales not seen for DC since the '90s comics boom. But if successful, we think Absolute Batman should put should be but the first in a whole new animated universe, one that could be a game changer if done right. Um, and here's like this is an image of what he looks like. He is just a massively built dude. He is just stocky as fuck. Um, let's see here, and he's like I said, he's blue collar, so he doesn't have billions to like craft cool gadgets, but he is from what I read earlier, he is like an engineer who's able to kind of create his own stuff, and he like does it in his garage kind of thing. It says here, for those unaware, Absolute Batman is the main title of the DC Comics Absolute Universe. This alternate world showcases the main DC heroes reimagined in an inherently darker world. However, while it may sound very grim, dark, and edgelord, it's actually anything but. In the absolute universe, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman are not born into privilege. Kal-El was not born into a noble house on Krypton. His parents were miners, as in they dug for ores and stuff. Not that they were underage. It says here he didn't come to Earth as a baby, but as a teenager who saw his world die. Wonder Woman wasn't raised as a princess in paradise. She was raised in a hell by a witch. Oh my god. Hello. I'm recording something. Yay. Um just talking about this story here on Nerdist.com. That's my roommate. She's coming in to grab a soda, I think. And so I don't. Does this say when this is gonna get released? Let me scroll down and see if there's like a release date. Uh, long. I don't. I don't see any release dates. But this sounds cool either way. Um. Yeah, and then the other article which talked about this show plus the other two shows, which is a show about the Joker called Joker Laugh Riot. Look into. It says for fans of Batman's most famous nemesis, look no further than Joker Laugh Riot. However, if you're looking for a classic Batman versus Joker face-off, this won't be for you. The show follows the Joker as he tries to figure out who he is without Batman after the Cape Crusader after the Cape Crusader dies. What? Okay. Cool. All right. What does it say about Crypto? There isn't. We've had a Crypto TV series before, or there was an animated movie. Plus, he's part of the Supergirl movie. If you guys haven't seen that, definitely watch it. I enjoyed it. A lot of people hate it for some weird reason. I don't understand why, because I really liked it. I enjoyed it. But this is what it says here about Crypto, the Crypto series. Last but certainly not least, everyone's favorite super pop Crypto is getting his own series too. This is for everyone who's ever wondered what the Superdog gets up to when his super owners aren't around. So this is like the Secret Life of Dogs, but it's all Crypto. Okay, that's cool. I think that'll be awesome. Um, I have a couple other things I wanted to talk about here. Let's go ahead and close these tabs. Typically, in my other podcast, I would have like saved these uh, links to the stories and put them into the to show notes. I don't know if I'm going to do that this time around. So if you want to find these stories, or if you want me to post them, leave a comment below, or send me an email at Todd at ADHD.rocks, and then put in the subject, links to stories or something to that effect. Okay. Um. The next story I have here, this is kind of cute, actually. There is no try. Scene recreated with adorable crocheted dolls. I haven't actually watched it, so we're gonna watch it together.
Always with you, what cannot be done.
Okay. I can't hear
Master, moving
you.
stones around is one thing. This is totally different. Master, moving stones around is one thing. This is totally different.
It's,
No.
why is it
no
doing the
different.
sound?
Only different
Okay,
in
it's
your
not
mind.
playing through.
You must unlearn. what
It's
you
not
have
playing.
learned.
Or is it?
All right, I'll give it a try.
No. Try not. Do or do not. There is no try.
Oh, maybe it is playing. It's not playing through my headphones, but it seems to be playing. Okay, that's kind of cute.
I can't. It's too big.
My ally is the Force.
All right, that's
And
cute.
the
All right, next story. I'm not playing the whole thing. This I've seen a number of these videos on TikTok. This person has recreated the original movie using cardboard and miscellaneous household items. This is what it says here, and then you can see this on screen if you're watching the video. If George Lucas had made Star Wars with nothing but $10, a roll of duct tape, and whatever cardboard was hiding in the recycling bin, Secondhand Movie Company answers that very important question with this hilarious low-budget recreation of A New Hope, or as I call it, Star Wars. It may not look exactly like the galaxy far, far away, but it proves you don't need millions of dollars to make fans laugh. Sometimes all you need is creativity, enthusiasm, and an alarming amount of duct tape. Like I said, I've seen some of these videos here.
Look, sir. Droids.
We stopped.
It looks like they actually
I'm
used
going.
the filming location for the yeah.
Tell your uncle we need a droid that can speak a lot of languages.
We don't have much of a choice, but
Chinese, Bocce.
I'll tell Uncle Owen.
Eh,
Yeah, that one's ugly. I'll take it. No. No. What are you? Are you a protocol droid?
Oh, yes, sir. That's exactly what I am.
Well, I don't need a protocol droid. I need an evaporator.
Well, you're in luck. My first girlfriend was a evaporator.
All right. Well, can you speak Chinese?
Yes, sir.
all right.
Ni hao ma.
You can see what it is. If you search for this right here, if Star Wars had a $10 budget, if you search for that on YouTube, you'll find this video. All right. So next on the list of things that I saw that looked like it could have been cool to watch or read about, they finally announced the name of the Netflix Ghostbusters animated series. It's going to be called Ghostbusters Night Shift, and it takes place in the early to mid 90s, and this will be in the same universe as the original 2 movies and the newest 2 movies. Unlike everything else that has been Ghostbusters, whether it be Real Ghostbusters, Extreme Ghostbusters, or Answer the Call, which was the 2016 movie, those are all not in universe. In fact, in the Real Ghostbusters, the movie, the 84 movie, was talked about in a few episodes. Like they had, they were as if they were the real world, and the movie was a thing within their universe. This, however, is going to be in universe as the original 84 movie and all the sequels that followed it. It says Jason Reitman says Ghostbusters Night Shift will surprise fans expecting the real Ghostbusters. This is the logo here. It's very kind of I don't know how you would describe that, but the smile. Someone said that they thought the smile looked like Slimer's smile, but upside down, and then like the hand on the left hand looks like it's like a terror dog hand. And we see here some screenshots from the animated series. This image here that I'm showing on screen is shows the kids who are the version of Ghostbusters on this, which is from what I read, the Ghostbusters have been retired. Peter, Ray, Egon, and Winston are all retired. They have disbanded, and these kids do some like DIY Ghostbusters gear. They make their own PKE meters and neutrino ones and all that stuff. And so, in this image here that I'm showing on the screen, it shows like a kid playing with like what looks like an English bulldog. But if you look closer, if I can get this to scroll, if I can get this to zoom in, maybe. No. See if I can get that to zoom in a little bit. You can see this kind of looks like it might have been like a terror dog pup. Okay. I'm so excited to see this. They haven't they don't have a release date as of yet. But they did say that it's going to be coming out in next year, so in 2027. And so I'm looking forward to seeing it. It's going to be fun. If you are into Ghostbusters, you consider yourself a fan, you definitely need to check out ghostbustersnews.com, which is where I found this story. And they have all kinds of good information about the fandom as far as Ghostbusters is concerned. It's about it, the movies, the TV shows, the comics, the toys, the collectible gear that people get. All that stuff I learned about these things have been from this website. And I think that is going to be it for today. I appreciate anybody who's actually paying attention to this and listening to me babble for an hour. And sorry about that first 30 minutes. I just need to get those things off my chest. And then when I record next, I'll just get into the stories. And if you're watching the video, let me know if you like how I'm presenting things here, whether you're watching it or you're just listening through your normal podcast app. I don't know if I'm going to do like full video on everything. I definitely am an old school podcaster where I don't typically like to be on camera. So, this is going to be like a pilot episode for ADHD Rocks. I've been your host, Todd, and I'll see you guys next time.